Is the safety class in the 2026 NFL draft top heavy, and must the Miami Dolphins address that glaring need early on? We'll discuss that. Plus, I will give my big board for the 2026 safety class. We'll also discuss Achane showing up to the Dolphins facility in good faith. And Daniel Jeremiah implies that Caleb Downs may be on the board when the Miami Dolphins make their selection next week. We got a lot to go over, a lot to discuss. Let's go ahead and get into this. What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason. We're back here for another one. Appreciate each and every one of you coming through on this episode to end your week off, as next week will be draft week. So we got a lot of content coming your way with the safety big board coming today. I'm pressing to get that next big board. It's going to be tight end. My final big board is going to be tight end. I was pulling between that and quarterback. I feel like tight end is going to be a sneaky pick. So tight end is going to come out for y'all, or maybe quarterback. You know, I have basically almost both of them ready to go. I'm trying to push that next big board to come out Sunday. You know, there's other options, maybe Monday, but I want to do mock draft Monday. Tuesday, we are going to be with Neil doing our annual 3-round hand-selected mock. Wednesday, I got a special guest for all of y'all, Marcel Louis Jacques of ESPN, who covers the Miami Dolphins. He'll be here the day before the draft. And then obviously Thursday is draft day, so not a lot of time here. So I'm going to try and turn around the next big board out for you guys. Let me know down below. Do you want to see do you want to see tight end, or do you want to see quarterback? Because I'm pretty much ready to go. So let me know down below. All right. Other than that, yeah, we got a lot of content coming your way. So Devon Achane, he showed up to the facility on Thursday, showing some good faith, as it seems like the Miami Dolphins and him are taking an extension seriously. I love it. Not only does that show good faith, but it'll show good faith to this fan base. John Eric Sullivan and Halfley and company get a new deal done with Devon Achane. So that could be something to monitor, because you want to get a deal done with him before Bijan and Jameer Gibbs get paid. You want to get that deal done, right? You just want to get them done before Robinson and Gibbs. So that is a absolute positive that you love to see. Now, let's get into the draft news. Daniel Jeremiah, he was on Pat McAfee, and he basically said between all the Ohio State guys in the first round, he thinks Arvell Reese, Sonny Styles, and Carnell Tate all go in the top 10. He said Caleb Downs is a top 10 player, but he's the one that would be on the borderline for me. And where's that borderline end? With the Miami Dolphins at 11. So he implies that Caleb Downs may fall to us. So that's interesting. It's just all over the place. You know, you got, I mean, hey, have I had better interviews and better draft coverage and better draft minds up here consistently since March for you guys to hear me pick the brains of? And they've all loved Caleb Downs. They've all admitted he's either the best player in the draft or one of the best players in the draft. But everyone is just different on where he's going to land. It's wild. It's really wild. So we'll see how it goes. We will see how it goes. And then also other news, Malchi Lawrence visited with the Miami Dolphins. You guys all know Malchi Lawrence. He is a man crush of mine. Him and Zion Young were my edge man crushes. He was actually my edge 4. You got an elite Raz, 6'4", 3/8", 253 pounds. He's got very violent, active hands. You know, he's got reps on tape where he's just straight up dominating opposing tackles with that functional strength he possesses. He's just really embraced that physical side of the game. Love the anchor, love the motor. You know, he's got a really, really diverse set of pass rush moves. He'll win with chops, push pulls, swipes, inside moves, ghost rushes, bull rushes. You know, it's really quite a deep bag. So, and, you know, he can string together those moves as well, and he can win with speed or power. So I just thought they would want someone who sets the edge a little bit more consistently. I thought they'd prioritize setting the edge over, a pass rush first guy, because I feel like they already have that in Chop. But hey, he's visiting. He's on a 30 visit. There you go. So that is the 21st 30 visit that has been confirmed so far by Barry Jackson. So we still don't know about 9. So there you go. Listen, I want to take time and shout out the sponsor of today's video, and you know what that is and who that is. Of course, that is Prize Picks, America's #1 sports pick app. No matter what sport you're watching, there's no better way to make the action more exciting than Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. Prize Picks is daily fantasy made simple. You pick more or less on your favorite players' projections and build lineups in a few taps, whether it's football, basketball, or as you can see, playoff hockey, or another sport you're into. Prize Picks gives you a fun way to stay locked in on every play while you're watching. And to get you started, they're hooking you up with $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup when you use code HMA. And you can see here, I like Jason Robinson over half goal for Dallas. I believe I also like Svechnikov to get over half a point as well. But then, I like Erik Karlsson to get over half a point. I also like Gino Yevgeny Malkin to get over half a point for them. I like Ricard. I think Ricard, Raquel, and Crosby are obviously definitely ones too to watch there. So playoff hockey is back, and you can go make it a good time on Prize Picks, right? So download the Prize Picks app today. Use code HMA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code HMA to get $50 in lineup after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks is good to be right. Link in the description down below. Again, shout out to Prize Picks. All right, let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and let's get into my safety big board, because you got to ask yourself the question. Listen, do they need to address safety early on? And we're going to go into that. And I really think I love the top 5 guys. Listen, I love guys outside the top 5. My man crush, one of my man crushes is number 6. My other one is number 2, but one of them is number 6, right? And everyone knows I feel Caleb Downs is the best player in the draft, arguably. So, but I think once you get outside that top 5, man, it just feels like you got to address this early. If you're going to do this, you got to do it between 130 and 43, because come 75 and 80, and you could say this for a lot of play, it feels like it's going to be this way for edge. It feels like this might just be this way for wide receiver. They got to be smart here. That's why Caleb Downs falls to you at 11 and Moe Noah's not out there, or whatever. Styles gone. You got to pull the trigger. You really do. So it's going to be something they might have to address early on based on how that board falls, especially with how top heavy it feels it is with the first 5 guys. And you'll see who the 5 guys are. And I like them all. So let's go ahead and let's go over my honorable mentions for this class. And we start in Indiana, where they're out here winning national championships with Lewis Moore. He's 5'10", 5'8", 193 pounds, primarily a free safety in a single high or 2 high looks. Come down in the box. It can offer you support and run fits. Has pretty high level ball skills, diagnoses well, very good at tracking the ball, and has that natural feel for when to break and make a play on it. Had 6 interceptions and 5 pass breakups in 2025. Plays pretty physical too. Plus, he does offer you some special teams upside. Misses too many tackles though for my liking. He's not a great athlete. Isn't very agile. That lateral movement is Will be 25-year-old rookie. Length and size are far from ideal. And I don't think he's great in covering in man. 14, I got Kamari Ramsey out of USC. 5'11", 3/4, 202. 4.47 40 speed and the versatility to play out of the slot, covering receivers down the box or up on the roof and 2 high and single high looks. Pretty fluid, loose hips. Good change of direction ability. Good awareness with a quick trigger to match. I think he can lay the lumber a little bit as a hitter too, and shows good ability to read and react on balls in the air, as he's seen by his 2 interceptions and 11 pass breakups in the past 3 seasons. Tackling, I think, did improve in 2025, but he's very, very inconsistent, especially technique-wise in 2024. I don't think any of his mental or physical traits are elite. Struggles in run support, isn't rangy in my opinion, and Ramsey isn't overly instinctual. Plus, he has battled some injury history. You know what I mean? So All you fans, this one's for you. Number 13, Jacoby Thomas, 6'1", 211. He's an absolute heat-seeking missile. He may not have had the best athletic testing at the combine, but he shows a lot of range on film because his processing and instinct ability can make up for that lack of top-end speed, I think. He can be used up on the perch in single high or two high looks or down in the box around the line of scrimmage. He's very effective when he's used as a blitzer. Good read and reactability. He's a playmaker when the ball is in the air. He had 5 interceptions and 6 pass breakups in 2025 alone. He's physical and aggressive. Well, I also think Jacoby Thomas has really good awareness and feel for the game. Isn't a great or elite athlete, as I mentioned earlier. Doesn't have top end closing speed or recoverability. Can be way too over aggressive, which leads to a lot of missed tackles. He needs to clean that up. Hips and feet aren't always loose and fluid and in sync, and he doesn't always take the best pursuit angles. Number 12 for me is Robert Spears Jennings out of Oklahoma, 6'2", 205. And he's a good athlete with some serious explosion, which he displayed at the combine. He had a 4.3 240-yard dash, 2.5 220-yard split, and a 1.5 110-yard split, 10-foot 5-inch broad jump. Closing speed and burst on the field is real for him too, but he's not all finesse. He plays with some real violence behind every hit, that he tries to lay down. He's got good range of his game. He can play down in the box or up in two high and single high looks. He's good in run support. Only had 2 penalties in his whole collegiate career. Forced 5 fumbles the last 2 seasons, including 4 in 2024 alone. Pretty good tackler. Navigates through traffic well. I like the instincts, awareness, and patience he shows in zone coverage. He offers you some special teams and blitzer upside too, I think. Not a ton of ball production in 4 years with only 2 picks and 4 pass breakups. Needs to take better angles in the open field, I think, too. Feels like he can be a tick slow to trigger and on throws and coverage, basically with processing. And I don't think he's a viable, consistent one-on-one matchup option in man, even with that speed. Number 11, a guy I'm really high on. I've talked about him on this channel quite a bit. Cole Wisniewski. I'm probably going to be higher on him than most of the consensus, but that Texas Tech D, man, it's full of dogs this last season. And Wisniewski was one of them after transferring from North Dakota State. The big-time hitter that I think can eventually be a starter in the NFL. He was also one of the Combine's biggest snubs, in my opinion. He was a linebacker at North Dakota State that was converted to safety in 2023, and he became an FCS All-American. He had 8 interceptions along with 4 pass breakups in 2024 at North Dakota State with 3 pass breakups this past year at Texas Tech. He's 6'4", 220 pounds with really good length to his frame. He's really comfortable up on the perch in 2 high or single high looks or playing down the box. He has good anticipation to go along with good route recognition ability. He can track the ball well, displays good sideline to sideline and split field coverage range. He's physical, helps out in run support. He's a solid tackler. I think he's a fit in man or zone given his IQ and the athleticism plus the physicality he shows on film too. Now, downsides, he has an extensive injury history, still relatively new to the position. Obviously, we went over that position change. Hips aren't always fluid on film. I do wish he tested to answer long speed questions a lot of people have on him. 24-year-old rookie, I think will settle in more of a 2 high, down in the box safety at the next level, while I think he also needs to fill out his frame just a little bit more. Now, as we enter the top 10, I'm going to talk about a guy I'm really, really high on. Listen, I like VJ Payne out of Kansas State a lot. He's not only a very good athlete as seen by his testing and on film, but he's also got the size and that length to the frame you like to see match that athleticism. Listen, he's 6'3", 206 with 33 3/4 inch arms. He runs a flat 4.40 at that. Think about that. Kyle Hamilton was like an inch taller, 6'4", but similar length, and he ran a 4.59. So he also runs a 2.56 20-yard split, does Payne, along with a 1.52 10-yard split and a 10'7" broad jump. He displays good range, has the ability to recover, really fluid hips and feet, whether in transition, in his back pedal, or in phase. His closing speed is also impressive. There's just not a lot of any wasted motion and movement with him, which you really like to see, especially at that length and that size, that athleticism. Payne packs some real power when he hits too. He can come downhill and support against the run. He can line up all over in the box to blitz or help against the run, in the slot to cover tight ends or even wide receivers because he's got the length and the speed to handle those guys, right? Or up top in 2-man or single high looks. Payne has the awareness and instincts to be good in zone, along with the athleticism that helps him be a really good defender in man. So I think the upside with Payne is actually some of the highest in the safety class, to be honest. I also believe that because of his length and athleticism, he does offer upside along the line of scrimmage as a blitzer if a defensive coordinator wants to get creative with him. Listen, when he does miss a tackle, it's almost always because of technique. 4 interceptions and 7 pass breakups is okay, but it's not great when you come to like the ball production out of him. Sometimes he doesn't take the best angles when he's chasing and pursuing the ball carrier. Needs to keep filling out his frame and functional strength, especially because he needs to improve on getting off and shedding blocks. Number 9 for me is Genesis Smith, 6'1", 202, 32.5-inch arms, run a 4.5 40, along with a 2.58 20-yard split, a 1.53 10-yard split. Jumps a ridiculous 42.5-inch vert, along with a impressive 10-foot 8-inch broad jump. Needs to say he's a very good athlete for his size with some nice length to his frame. Moves very fluidly with oily hips. He has incredible range. He can cover every blade of grass quite quickly. And it's not just because of his speed, burst, and athleticism. It's also because he's a really instinctual player that reads the play quickly and reacts to it even quicker, which mixed with his high-level ball tracking, that helped him rack up 4 interceptions and 10 pass breakups the last 2 seasons. And listen, he's as much of a center field option as you'll find in this class, with free safety being his true home, I think. The feet are quick and the footwork is smooth, whether he's transitioning out of his back pedal or staying in phase with the receiver. Very effective coming downhill, whether it's against the run or upside. He's shown as a blitzer the last few seasons is also intriguing. So I love how physical he is, whether he's shutting down a screen or hunting down a ball carrier in space. I think he's a fit in zone or man. He's versatile enough, smart enough, and obviously athletically, he tested well enough. And he's disruptive at the catch point in either zone or man too. So that said, would I have him pressing at the line? No. I don't think his play strength is there yet, and either is his technique because he wasn't asked to do it very much. Also, you see that lack of strength show up when he tries to shed and deconstruct blocks. Misses way too many tackles because his pursuit angles aren't always the best, and I don't see box-heavy usage in his future. Number 8 for me is Bud Clark. He's a twitchy, he's as twitchy as he is versatile, which is, very, considering he lined up in the box and the slot and on the perch and 2 high and single high looks for TCU. He is truly a chess piece. He turned heads at the Senior Bowl and then backed up that performance with a very strong combine where he measured in at 6'1", 188 pounds, ran a 4.4 140, jumped a 38-inch vert and had a 10-foot 7-inch broad. He's a definition of a ball hawk, man. 15 interceptions, 20 pass breakups the last 4 seasons. His route recognition, anticipation, ball tracking, and read and react ability are all very, very good, which helps put him in an advantageous position a lot of the time. His feet are very quick and smooth. Well, he also shows good change of direction ability. He's just disruptive at the catch point. You'll love to see it. He can really lay some thud when he drops his shoulder on ball carriers too. Loves to get his hands dirty against the run. He's been a very good tackler the last 2 years with good wrapping technique. I stay fairly disciplined in the backfield. Clark's a very good communicator on the back end, so he can be the quarterback of a secondary at the next level too, I think. He's a good leader. He was a 3-year captain at TCU, and although I think he's a better fit overall in zone, I do think his athleticism and footwork make him fine and man. And what I like is he consistently takes good, smart angles. He's a smart player, man. Now, he missed 14 games over his collegiate career. He'll be 24 just after the draft in May. I think his frame is too lean and wiry. Needs to fill it out, especially for play strength purposes. I don't see top end fluidity in the hip, which, probably explains his low slot usage in college. And he can be too over aggressive on play action, misdirections, and he can be baited by motion. So got to be better on those things. Now, number 7, Zakee Wheatley out of Penn State. I know his combine didn't blow anyone away, but I feel like Wheatley's game, I think if you really like it and you watched it, you see he has really good range. And I really like his closing speed and burst. Now, I did see that show up with his 2.56 20-yard split. He's 6'2", 3/4, 203, and I think he has good lateral quickness and change of direction ability too on film. He's another guy who packs some real pop behind his shoulder pads, especially when he's filling gaps and run fits in the box. Has good size to his frame, pretty fluid hips, quick feet with clean footwork. Plays with pretty good technique when tackling, where he wraps instead of relying on the impact to do all the work for him when he tackles someone. He's instinctive. He's a really good diagnoser with a quick trigger. He can play in single high or 2 high shells. I love how Wheatley takes really good pursuit angles consistently. He showed some playmaking upside the last 2 seasons. He had 4 interceptions and 5 pass breakups. And, he was really effective in his robber usage too at Penn State. Overall, he has good awareness and coverage, plays like he's motivated on every down with a very high motor. Very disciplined. He didn't have a single penalty in 5 years of college, and he's a reliable player when it comes to health. Now, he's not an explosive or great athlete. His arm length is only 31 inches. Sometimes his eyes aren't disciplined watching the quarterback in the backfield where he gets caught peeking. He'll be a 24-year-old rookie. His core strength needs to be improved, as that's the main reason for his missed tackle rate in college, not his technique. And I also think Wheatley's a better fit for zone than man. So number 6, Jalen Kilgore out of South Carolina. He's an absolute stud, man. He made my annual man crush list at safety for this year's draft. It came down to him, Stukes, and Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. So he's 6'3" and he's 6 foot 3/4, 210 pounds, has 32 3/4 inch arms, runs a 4.4 flat 40, a 2.59 yard 20-yard split, a 1.56 10-yard split. He jumps a 37-inch vert and a 10'10" broad jump. I think he's a hybrid type of defender. He's a strong safety, big nickel at the next level who can play down in the box as a robber or cover receivers and tight ends out of the slot. He's got some ball hawk qualities with 8 interceptions and 18 pass breakups in 3 years of college. Knows how to utilize his length to be disruptive at the catch point. He's got disciplined eyes. He's very instinctive with high level route recognition. He tracks the ball well with solid hands. Not only is he quick to trigger, but his short area burst looks explosive on film, which some of the testing really backed up. Kilgore not only supports in run fits, but he's another guy in this class who is looking to layeth the smacketh downeth when he's got a ball carrier in his sights. He's got good footwork off the line of scrimmage when he's in and out of his back pedal and when he stays in phase. So he's a perfect fit for zone defense, in my opinion, when diagnosing the play happening in front of him. I like how he isn't susceptible to play fakes, misdirections, motions. He's a pretty good tackler. He's still young, having just turned 21, and he displays some good range. Now, I don't think he has the oily hips or the change of direction ability to stick with shifty, speedy receivers in man coverage. Can struggle to shed and deconstruct blocks, so his strength needs to be improved. He can have contact balance issues with physical receivers, especially through the stem. So, because of that strength issue as well. So just needs to get stronger, man. So, and just grow. Now let's get into my top 5, and let's start with AJ Halsey. He's 5'11", 3/4, 215 pounds, 4'5", 240 speed. He's a lot of fans in the NFL and the scouting community, including friend of the show, Jordan Reed of ESPN, who has him as one of his guys. Halsey was a true free safety guy in college, was comfortable on the perch with 864 of his college snaps between New Mexico, Houston, and LSU coming in single high looks, and 630 of those snaps being racked up in just the last 2 seasons at Houston and LSU. Halsey may be best suited as a strong safety playing most in the box at the next level, but he has a really good football IQ. He diagnoses the play really well, has pretty good fluid feet, which he showcases in and out of his back pedal. He mirrors receivers well from what I saw. I think he's an absolute thumper when he lines up his target. He's quick to trigger on crossing and underneath routes coming through his coverage zone, where he shows off his explosive short area bursts and instincts as if he sees it coming with really good angles too. So has really good ball production in the last 2 seasons between the Big 12 and the SEC, where he had 5 interceptions and 6 pass breakups with Houston in 2024 and 3 interceptions and 5 pass breakups with LSU in 2025. He's a very disciplined player too, with his eyes in the backfield, aware how clean his game is. Didn't have a penalty in 2025. So has a good feel of when to unleash his peanut punch on the football. And overall, not only do I like how physical he is, but I like his uber competitive demeanor. Another guy in this class who is great in zone, but needs refinement, especially technique wise. And man, plus his athleticism may limit him against speed, nuanced route runners, but arm length isn't ideal. Can't whiff on tackles when, he whiffs on tackles when he's a little over aggressive, and he does display some hip stiffness when he has to change direction. But I love this player, man. And I don't even know if he'll be on the board at 43. I don't know if any of these guys in the top 5 will be on the board at 23, but I love AJ Halsey, man. He is, any of these guys in the top 5 at 11, 30, or 43, including AJ Halsey, would be a home run pick for me. Love this player, man. Really, really do. So number 4 is Treydon Stukes. Listen, next to Ted Hurst, Stukes was one of the hardest admissions for me for this year's man crush list for the draft, but there can only be 2 players for each position. That said, I'm a huge fan of Stukes, who I think best projects as a big nickel, who can also play the star role in the secondary of a defense. He's 6'1", 190 pounds, absolutely outstanding athlete, which you see on film. that the testing backed up. He ran a 4.3 340 at the combine, as well as a 2.56 20-yard split and a 1.5 flat 10-yard split. And he jumped a 38-inch vert along with a 10-10 broad jump. He's a fit in zone and man, in my opinion. His eyes are very disciplined. He absolutely annihilates screens when he diagnoses and triggers downhill. He's really explosive, and you see it when he breaks on a route and makes a play with his closing speed and range. He's got really good ball skills with 7 interceptions and 15 pass breakups over the last 4 seasons. Stooks has really good hip fluidity, so is the physicality to reroute receivers. He has very high level recovery ability too. He's been a reliable tackler the majority of his time at Arizona, and he's very capable of helping as a run defender. And to me, Stooks offers you some upside as a blitzer too. Now, the first thing he'll be dinged for is his age. He's going to be a 25-year-old rookie, and he has some injuries, including an ACL injury that cost him 8 games in 2024. He could be susceptible to being overly aggressive coming downhill, which leads to poor angles. Needs to get better at shedding and deconstructing blocks. And, his length, that's probably average. But when you look at this player and you watch what he does on film, it's clear to see the upside. He's just so instinctual, and when you add in that athleticism with those instincts and that versatility, man, he is a defensive coordinator's dream in terms of being a chess piece. And remember, Halfley talked about wanting players that can wear multiple hats. He's a perfect example of that. Number 3 for me, Dylan Thieneman. He's the first safety we'll go over out of the top 3 safeties in this class, who I think all 3 of these safeties should be in the top 25, where I have them ranked myself. He's 6 foot, 201 pounds, but he absolutely blew up the combine with a blazing 4.35 40 time, a 2.55 20-yard split, a 1.52 10-yard split, a 41-inch vert, and a 10 foot 5-inch broad jump, all of which were elite testing numbers. That speed and athleticism are all over his tape with his range, closing speed, short area burst. He offers true free safety upside, who can cover every blade of grass from sideline to sideline. He has 811 single high snaps between 2023 and 2024, though it dipped only 65 in 2025, as he was used more in 2 high looks and down in the box as like a hybrid linebacker, mainly on the weak side. So he's not just a player limited to the perch. Thieneman packs some pop behind his pads too. He's a very smart player who's great at diagnosing the play. Had 2 interceptions and 4 pass breakups this season at Oregon, while he posted 6 interceptions and 7 pass breakups in 2 years at Purdue. 6 interceptions came in 2023 and 6 pass breakups came in 2024 alone. He can cover wide receivers and tight ends. He just always feels like he's around the ball, to be honest. So he's really good against the run, filling gaps, no problem when he's tasked to. Obviously, he has high-end pursuit speed. The feet are clean and quick. He has a very high motor, and Thieneman is not only a versatile player, but he's scheme versatile because of that elite athleticism and feel for the game. Needs to continue building out his frame if he's going to continue to be a factor at the next level down the box, especially for taking on blocks. Misses tackles when he comes in too high on the ball carrier. Doesn't always take the best pursuit angles. Is susceptible to play fakes. Route recognition, I don't think, is a high end. Trigger can be a tad slow due to processing. And I think why he didn't do the 3-cone shuttle is because you can see average lateral quickness, movement, and agility at times on tape. But man, I love this player. He's fantastic. Still, take him in the top 25. Another guy, if he fills out his frame and he can continue to be that impact player in the box, he's another guy who can fit a lot of different hats. Emmanuel McNeil Warren, for me, is my number 2 safety. And not only is Emmanuel McNeil Warren my second safety on the board, he also made my man crush list along with Jalen Kilgore. 6'3", 5'8", 201 pounds. For his size, he's a very good athlete. He has a 4.52 40 time. Remember, Kyle Hamilton was 6'4" with 4.59, like I mentioned earlier. Good length to his frame. He can play both safety spots and fill the role as a big nickel on a defense, as he's fully capable playing on the perch in 2 high or single high looks, covering tight ends out of the slot or playing down at the line of scrimmage. He's very disruptive at the catch point, knowing how to use that length. He has really good route recognition and anticipation that puts him in a position to make plays on the football by undercutting pass angles and getting in throwing lanes. Having posted 5 interceptions and 11 pass breakups over the course of the last 3 seasons, he only allowed 6 receptions in coverage last year. And McNeil Warren also forced 11 fumbles during his college career. Wow. As a run defender, he hits as violently, as quickly as he triggers downhill, in my opinion. I think he's one of the better hitters in this class, to be completely honest with you. I know he had a missed tackle rate of 15.5% in 2025 due to being over aggressive, but he's normally been a reliable tackler on film. He only had a missed tackle rate of 7.85% between 2023 and 2024. So McNeil Warren is one of the few safeties in this class who doesn't struggle often with disengaging off of blockers as well. He's scheme versatile too, as not only do I think he can handle man and zone, but I think he has the length, athleticism, and physicality to even be effective in press. Wouldn't say he has high-end long speed by any means, though. Like I mentioned, he can miss tackles, being overly aggressive with bad angles. Needs refinement of his footwork, back pedal. Competition jump from the MAC to the NFL is going to be real. And he's got to continue to fill out that long frame. But count me in as a believer in Emmanuel McNeil Warren. I see the potential here. I don't see how him, Thieneman, and the next guy we're going to talk about get out of. I don't think either one's on the board at 30. No way. No way. And again, another guy who can do a lot of things for you, depending on how you want to use him, right? So, and you just look at, he's got that length, he's got the athleticism, he's got that profile you really, really salivate over. So number one for me, no doubt about it, Caleb Downs. Not only is Caleb Downs one of the easiest evaluations of this draft, he's also arguably the draft's best player. He's an extremely versatile defender that can play in the box, out of the slot. He can play robber, on the roof, and two high and single high looks, as he displayed the ability to do all those things between his time at Alabama and Ohio State. I think next to Vega, Ioane, Downs is arguably the safest pick in this draft. I don't care that he didn't test. He's a really good athlete on film who I think falls in the 4.48 to 4.52 40 range, which is plenty enough. But whether you go back and see him returning punts for touchdowns at Ohio State or Alabama, along with sometimes he was tasked with blitzing from the perch and single high looks, if coaches weren't confident in his speed and overall athleticism, he wouldn't have been asked to do those type of things. Downs displays elite route recognition, spatial awareness, instincts, processing, and overall play diagnosing ability. Just elite in all those categories. He sees it well before it happens. Had 6 interceptions and 7 pass breakups over 3 years in college. Didn't allow a passer rating over 53.4 in his coverage zone over the last 2 seasons. And because he didn't test, people assume he doesn't have top end range, but watch the film. He most definitely does. And he also is very good at disguising looks until the very last second. He's very physical in run support, and in my opinion, the best tackler in this class, whether it's at the line of scrimmage or out in open space downfield. He's just as reliable as they come. He's a high-end motor. He's a quarterback of a defense. As you can see him constantly on film communicating with his guys, IDing and directing his teammates. Downs a very quick to recover in phase 2 if he's beat, and he's a fit and zoner man. Now, he can be susceptible to play action when playing from depth sometimes. Arm length isn't ideal. Like many others, needs to build out the strength to help with getting off blocks. Doesn't have an elite physical trait, just elite mental traits. But he has just really good ones, right? He has good traits. And I know he didn't measure, but the length seems short, and his tackle radius isn't overly wild. But I feel like I'm nitpicking, to be honest. But yeah, doesn't have elite physical traits, but he has really good ones, in my opinion. So I'm a big fan of Caleb Downs. As you all know, he is my safety one, arguably the best player in that draft. But from Hulsey to Downs, those guys, you got to take one of them between 11, 30, and 43. The problem is, by the time you get to 30, I think now only Stukes and Hulsey are going to be on the board. I think all of the other 3 guys are going to be gone. I really honestly do. So, and then what do you do? Is there going to be a run on defensive tackle? Is it going to be a run on edge? Do you take one of those guys? So when you got these many holes and not enough draft picks, and we got a lot of draft picks, but you got so many holes, it's tough to navigate that. So, but this is where John R. Sullivan will have to make his money. But I'm really high on all. I think Hulsey, Stukes, Emmanuel McNeil Warren, Caleb Downs, obviously, as well as Dylan Thieneman. Any one of those guys at 11, 30, or 43, home run for me. Absolute home run for me. Big fan of the top of the safety class. And then, hey, that's not to say I don't like guys. I love Jalen Kilgore. Made my man crush list. I love Wheatley. I love Bud Clark. I love Genesis Smith. I love VJ Payne. But you can clearly see, right? It's Caleb Downs, Then it's Emmanuel McNeil, Warren, and Dylan Thieneman in the second tier. Then in the third tier, it's Stukes and Hulsey. Then in the fourth tier, it's like Kilgore and Wheatley and Clark. And then, and you could probably sneak Genesis in there. And then it so there's tiers to this and there's gaps to this. So it'll be interesting to see how they do it and how they attack this, really, for real. So there's a lot of guys I like in this class. But if you want the high-end talent in this class, it's got to be one of those top 5 guys, in my opinion. Ladies and gentlemen, do me the huge favor. Smash the like button. Subscribe if you're new. That goes a long way on these type of videos. And we are going to catch you guys on the next one. Till then, you already know what time it is. Fins up all day, every day. And we'll see y'all later. Have a fantastic rest of your day.